All right, well, we'll go ahead and get started. I just want to say welcome to everybody and say hello. My name is Luke Gerke, and I'm going to be doing your presentation tonight. Hopefully you guys can see and hear me. If you guys can't, feel free to just chime in on the chat window. And the Q&A section will be kind of reserved for questions that you guys have throughout the presentation. Feel free to go ahead and post something on there, and we'll be happy to do our best to answer things as best we can. So tonight is the first time that we're doing one of these Zoom webinars, so please forgive me if there's some technical issues or anything like that, but we'll go ahead and get started. Again, my name is Luke Gerke. I'm the Senior Program Director here at YMCA Camp Weaver, and tonight we're going to be kind of just talking about camp and what our goals for your camper are, and hopefully walking you guys through what an experience or a week at camp looks like from both the overnight camp viewpoint as well as the day camp viewpoint. Again, if you guys have any questions, please use the Q&A button, which should be at the bottom of your screen, and you guys can ask any questions that you want to know. Actually, to go ahead and get started, Cece's mom has asked a great question. Do I have to be a YMCA member to sign up for summer camp? And I'll go ahead and answer that now, right live. You actually don't have to be. That's actually a common misperception. You don't have to be a YMCA member to sign up for summer camp. You can actually be just any member from the open community, though there is a membership benefit to being a Y member, where you can actually get a slight discount to be a part of our summer camp program. And all you really need to do with that is just note that you're a Y member and on your registration form, and we'll be happy to provide a discount for you guys that are Y members. So no, you don't need to be a Y member. We would be happy to have any member from the community join us as a camper at Camp Weaver. So overall, the mission of the Y is to put Judeo-Christian principles into practice through our programs that build a healthy mind, body, and spirit for all. And ultimately, with that, our campers we really want them to be able to come to camp, and I think the most important piece is for all. We really serve campers from all walks of life, which really kind of contributes to our camp's diversity. We have campers really from all walks of life that come into camp. So we have kids from all the way from campers that come from Children's Home Society and a variety of different community partner agencies that we work with, all the way up to campers whose parents are full payers and contribute fully to camp as far as their dues go. But we do hope ultimately that every camper comes to camp kind of free from the burdens of what's going on in everyday life. They come to camp with the ability to join us and really not be burdened by what's going on in their life, whether they're a foster child or whether they're a child from a family that has the means to contribute to be able to pay full membership to come to camp. So ultimately, we hope that every camper comes to camp and really walks away with new friends and new relationships that they establish here at camp. Many of our campers have been coming to camp for many different years. In fact, there's quite a few campers that have been here since they were 6-7 years old, which is the youngest that will take campers. And we have about 40% of our staff are actually campers themselves and joined us as a part of the CIT program and kind of grew up here at camp, eventually becoming camp counselors. And we also hope that every camper really grows as an individual and gets a chance to really learn about themselves and also learn about other people. So we hope that each camper really grows as an individual while they're here at camp. The last thing is, and I kind of alluded to this earlier, that campers return to camp summer after summer to make new friends and hopefully have new experiences and join us summer after summer for year after year. So we do have the ability for campers to really progress through the skills that they learn here at camp through our leadership track positions, which are CIT and LIT, as well as a variety of different opportunities for campers to progress through the skills that the skill books that they have, where they have an opportunity to build on the skills that they learned from the year before. Campers, ultimately, we really hope that your camper will be a future camper and come back to camp year after year. So a typical day at camp, what does that exactly look like? So we'll kind of walk through the two different camps that we operate. We operate both day camp and overnight camp at the same time, and they both operate kind of a little bit differently from each other, but ultimately with the same goals in mind. So from 7:15 to 8:15, you can drop your camper off at their bus site. We have bus sites both at the Spears YMCA and at the First Baptist Church bus site, which is downtown. So there's two different sites as well as Camp Weaver that you can drop off at. From 8:45 on, the buses are hopefully arriving at camp, and then they arrive at camp for their morning meeting, where we kind of get everybody settled, go over the rules for the day, do a brief kind of thing to get started with the morning, where we talk about campers making sure that they're drinking lots of water, wearing sunscreen, so on and so forth, as well as just kind of a theme for the day that we kind of start things with, so kind of a thought for the day. After the morning meeting, we break off immediately into changing time, and we're super excited to announce that this year we have brand new changing stalls. There's 8 new changing stalls that BB&T's Lighthouse project built for us, which will actually allow us to facilitate changing time even faster and even more comfortably for our campers. One thing that we really advise our campers' families to do is to make sure to send their campers in their bathing suits, and that actually allows us to just save some time when campers arrive to camp, so we don't have to worry about that morning changing time. Right after that, as soon as the changing time is done, we have open swim. Day campers are actually allowed each day to participate in either swimming at the pool or swimming in the lake, and they get to choose that depending on what they prefer. Basically, one of their camp counselors will go with them to the lake, and one of their camp counselors will go with them to the pool. So it's completely open, and they can change that each day depending on their preference. So from 9:30 till roughly 10:40, we'll have a changing time allotted for them, and from 9:30 until 10:40, we'll have a time for them to have an open swim at either the lake or the pool, and then at 10:40, we'll have that changing time. At 11:05, that's when we meet at the flagpole and allow them to kind of gather up, circle up, and really gather back as a group before we break for lunch. Lunch is provided for all of our day camp programs. That is one thing that I think separates Camp Weaver from a lot of different camps in the area, is that we do provide a hot lunch for all campers that want to participate in that. So from 11:10 to 11:50, we've got our hot lunch, and then from 11:50 until 1 o'clock, we do our bead time. Bead time is an opportunity for campers to do a free choice activity where they can choose something that they really are interested in. So if your camper is very interested in archery, or if they're very interested in BBs or dance or any of the other variety of activities that we offer here at camp, that's an opportunity for them to really kind of go to that skill activity and really master it. In the afternoon, right after bead time, we break for trading post and snack. And that's an opportunity for your camper to visit the camp store, as well as go to the camp, get a snack from our camp trading post. One of the other things that's included with our camp is the opportunity for campers to have a snack for free. So that is included in the cost of your camp session. There's no need to pay extra for snack. Trading post is really something that you elect to do extra on. So it's those camp snacks and camp souvenirs. At 1:30, we break back into kind of tribe-focused activities where the campers will be together as a group and work together as a group in either kind of the land-based activities. So that could be archery, that could be the ropes course, that could be arts and crafts, or anything really based on land. So at 1:30 and 2:30, we do 2 different activities for the day campers, and then from there, by 3:30, we're up at Warwick Pavilion for our closing kind of snack and closing meeting, and then by 4 o'clock, we start to load up our buses. So one of the things that day camp parents are sometimes surprised about is that we actually say that we really prefer that you don't pick up from 4 to 4:35. And the reason that we do that is because We really don't want campers. We've got a lot going on. We're trying to get campers sorted into the different bus areas that they're assigned to. So whether they're going to the Spears YMCA or to the First Baptist Church or staying here at camp, that's kind of our time to figure out where everybody's going and to ensure that campers arrive at the location that they need to be arriving at. So during that time, we do ask for your cooperation in not attempting to pick up during that time period. Anytime before that or anytime after that, you are totally free to pick up and pick up your camper during that time. And we'll talk a little more about some tips on picking up campers early or picking up campers late a little later in the presentation. And then at 4:35, our buses depart. They head out to the various different bus sites around Greensboro or stay here at the camp. And at that point, we open up pickup to all camper parents and allow them to pick up and take their campers back home until the next day. So our overnight camp schedule is a little more complicated because it is a week long of camp session. So Sunday is really all about, which is not featured on this slide, Sunday is really all about getting the camper kind of ready for camp. So during Sundays of overnight camp, it's really doing the swim evaluation, it's taking camp tours, it's making sure that they're signed up for activities, doing name games, that kind of stuff. And then once they get into Monday, that's kind of what starts kind of our regular overnight camp schedule, and we really get into the swing of things. So each morning at 7 o'clock, campers will wake up and get ready for their day, and that'll be facilitated by our staff, who will kind of lead them through their various morning chores and help them kind of get ready for camp. So some of the campers might be assigned to take out the trash, some of the campers might be assigned to cleaning up the bathroom, others might be sweeping, mopping, etc. At 8 o'clock, or at 7:45 rather, we meet for flag. Each morning we raise the flag and do some songs to kind of wake everybody up and get everybody excited for the day. And then at 8 o'clock, we all meet for breakfast. So each cabin will eat eat with their own group. So they'll eat with their cabin participants, and then from there they break off into what's called morning watch. Morning watch is kind of like a morning chapel service, or a way for campers to it's a way for us to kind of have a opportunity to do kind of a start to the day, a thought for the day, if you will, for our campers. So we'll do a lot of stories like the Lorax. We may do some presentations like the Giving Tree. There's lots of different kind of stories that we'll tell, moral and ethical tales where we'll allow campers to kind of reflect on their day and think a little bit more about those character values that we really hold dear at the YMCA. And then right after morning watch is done, at 8:55, we'll do send-offs. And send-offs are basically where we send the campers out to their morning clinics. So clinics, to quickly describe that for clinics 1, 2, and 3, those are week-long activities that the campers actually get to choose upon registration. So they may choose archery, and they may choose beat making, and they may choose videography. So in each of those clinics, they'll attend that clinic all week long on basically a 1-hour skill session. So the hope is that the skills that they learn the day prior, that they kind of build on throughout the week with kind of a culmination project for them to work on Friday. So the example of videography, on the first day, they may learn how to use the different parts of the camera. They may learn some very basic pieces in Adobe Premiere, which is the software that we use for videography. And then by day 5, they'll actually have produced their own video and their own kind of media production that they'll actually show off to the whole camp. So that's kind of the culmination of that clinic. At 12:15, Clinic 3 ends, and we go to Flag and KP. So all the campers meet at the flagpole, and those that are assigned to KP, which is short for Kitchen Patrol, go up to to Herman Hall, which is our camp dining hall, and they actually will get ready and get set up for the rest of the camp. We really believe at camp that there's a lot of dignity and service to others, and it's a great opportunity for campers to kind of participate in providing service to the rest of the camp. At 12:30, we break for lunch, and then from lunch until 1:10, we'll have lunch from 12:30 to 1:10, and then at 1:10, we have siesta or kind of cabin cleanup time. And really during that time, that's an opportunity for campers to kind of get out of the heat of the day and take a break from the hottest part of the day and just get inside the air conditioning, rest a little bit. We don't necessarily require campers to take a nap by any means, but it's a time for them to just kind of hang out in their cabin and relax. And then when siesta ends at 2:10, we break off into what we call activities. So activities are a free choice, which really allows campers the opportunity to choose their own adventure each day. So some campers may very well choose to do, for example, swimming at the lake, and some campers may do that every single day throughout the whole camp session, and then and they may never change that. Other campers may choose horseback riding one day, archery the next day, and it can change so on and so forth like that throughout the summer, throughout their week at camp. So encourage your camper, if they really want to try different things and try a variety of activities, to sign up for different activities during that time. At 4 o'clock, that's when our activity ends, and that's when overnight campers will get their chance to go to Trading Post and have their snack. So their snack is a little bit later in the day, and just like day camp, we do provide a free drink as well as a free snack as part of that Trading Post time, as well as an opportunity to go shopping in our camp store for some souvenirs and a variety of other objects. At 4:30, they start their cabin activity time. And cabin activity time, kind of opposite of the clinic time and the activity time, that's actually a time for them to spend time with their cabin. So during the clinics and during the activities, they may kind of have their own schedule. So they may very well see their camp counselor or see their cabin mates throughout the day, but they also may not. During the cabin activity time, that's a time for that cabin to really get together and kind of bond and work together as a cabin group. So some examples of some cabin activities that we've seen over time. They may go play a game of kickball against another cabin. One of my favorites that I've seen over the years, campers will actually get an opportunity to adopt another cabin. We've had some older girls' cabins adopt a younger girls' cabin, and they do a really neat kind of little big sister, little sister time where they get a chance to work with younger campers and really get to meet and integrate with campers of different ages. So it really kind of depends on what the cabin counselor it opts to do during that time, but it's a great time for them to get to know each other as a cabin. At 5:45, that's when we meet again for flagpole and KP. So whichever cabin is assigned to KP or kitchen patrol, that's their opportunity to go up into the dining hall and set tables for the rest of the camp, while everybody else waits out, sings songs, and just kind of hangs at the flagpole until it's dinner time. So at 6, we have dinner, and then right after dinner, we have what's called evening program. An evening program is basically an opportunity for the campers to get together on what we call a village level. Village levels are kind of an extension of those individual cabins that campers sign up for or are a part of. So it'll be all boys and girls. It'll be co-ed as kind of a broader spectrum of the age group. So there'll be 3 or 4 girls cabins and 3 or 4 boys cabins all kind of gathered together in one area, doing either something like capture the flag, or during our Splish Splash week, for example, we do a regatta or a boat race where the campers actually build a boat and cooperate to race that boat during that evening program. So it really depends on the theme week that's going on, but it's a good opportunity to kind of meet some kids outside of their cabin, but within kind of their same age group. And then right after evening program, we do activity signups. Activities are what I referenced earlier in the talk about kind of those free choices, where they get an opportunity to make a free choice of any of those activities in the afternoon. And they sign up for the day afterwards. And then at 9 o'clock, we head back to the cabins. We do showers, devotions, that kind of stuff, and get everybody cleaned up and ready for bed. And then 10 o'clock, it's lights out. And at that point, campers go to bed and get ready for the next day. So if there's any questions at any point, some folks have joined us since we got started. There is a Q&A button at the bottom of your Zoom presentation. Feel free to ask any questions. If there's anything that you need clarification on, you can do that in that box right there. So just to kind of describe what your camper's tribe and cabin might look like. The first question we get most often from campers families are, who will be our child's, who will be my camper's counselor? And the best way to describe this is our counselors come from really all walks of life. We have campers that range in age from, we have campers that range in age from all the way from, counselors that range in age from 17 years old all the way up to, I think our oldest camp counselor this year is 34 years old. And a lot of them are college students, a lot of them are older, like seniors and juniors in high school, but we also have a couple of staff that are teachers in the school system, as well as have professional jobs, but opt to come back to camp every summer over and over again. Our camp counselors come from really all walks of life, as well as all over the country and all over the world. We're really proud to participate in what's called the J1 visa program, and the J1 visa program allows us to place international camp counselors that will be your child's counselor. This year we have just over, I think it's 16 international staff that will be coming to camp and joining us as a part of our camp staff. So we really try to hire a variety of different people from different walks of life, different kind of personalities, to ensure that your camper has an opportunity to connect with a variety of different people. We had a great question just pop up on the Q&A. It's referring to the last slide. KP stands for Kitchen Patrol, which is the KP is kind of the time where campers actually go up and set up the dining hall for our counselor for the rest of the camp. So KP it's assigned usually once or twice a week for a cabin, and a whole cabin group will go and set up all of the dining hall for the rest of the camp. Campers in your child's group, it depends on their age group, but for younger campers, it tends to be groups of 12 to 14, and for older groups, it tends to be groups of 14 to 15 campers in each group. With that, we always meet and exceed American Camp Association guidelines, which set up kind of a guideline for ratios of adults to campers within that child's cabin. Within our day camp tribes, we will always have at least 2 counselors, and in most cases 3, depending on the age group. And then for overnight camps, we tend to have always 3 counselors, sometimes even 4 within that cabin. The activities, we talked about that a little bit earlier, but the activities kind of range. There's too many really to list but I would refer you to our camp website to see a full list. All in all, we've got about 35 different activities that campers can opt to do at camp over the course of the time that they come. Another great question, can travel visa holders sign up for the camp? So that's actually a really good question. We're also very, very, we're very in a unique place because we're a camp that's on the coast. We actually do have quite a few travel agencies and foreign study groups that come to our camp and participate as campers. So we have 2 different partnerships that bring campers from Spain as well as campers from South Korea that actually get an opportunity to attend camp and participate in the camp. Those campers are both kind of here the main goal is to learn English and to learn, give an opportunity to practice those skills conversing in English. But just like American kids, they're ready to come to camp and really ready to have an exciting week here in North Carolina. So I hope that answered your question. As far as campers getting a chance to swim, like I mentioned earlier, day campers really get a chance to swim pretty much every morning, and then overnight campers get a chance to swim in the afternoons during their free choice activities. So campers basically get an opportunity to swim each day that they're at camp. Really the only exception is day campers on Monday morning. They do get to swim, but it's as part of our swim evaluation where they will actually be tested on kind of their swimming ability, and we'll go through some details on that. So campers do get an opportunity to choose what activities they do throughout the week. Overnight campers get their chances to choose their clinics and their afternoon free choice activities, as well as day campers. They get that free choice for feed time activities. So check in and check out for day camp. Basically, for day camp, like I mentioned earlier, you need to be, if you're dropping off at one of our off-site bus sites, you'll need to be dropping off between 7:15 and 8:15. Basically with that, the reason that we kind of cut that off at 8:15 is we really want to make sure that campers have an opportunity to get to camp on time. So if you're running late, if you're running behind, we're really, really sorry, but we've also got probably 25, 30 other kids on that bus that need to get to camp on time. So if you're at the Spears YMCA or the First Baptist Church site and you're running late and won't be there before 8:15, chances are you're probably going to be taking your camper out to Camp Weaver for that day if you want them to participate. So just make sure that you're there. We say 8:10 to be safe because we will leave our schedule is set for them to leave at 8:15. I had a great question from someone. Overnight camp, age 6 is definitely eligible. We actually do our eligibility by camper grade level. We find that camper grade level is a far better indicator of campers' readiness for camp and where they're at developmentally. So for day camp, it is rising first graders that are eligible for camp, and for overnight camp, it is rising second graders. That said, we always are willing to kind of be flexible with that. If you have a camper that has had some experience where they've gotten an opportunity to spend the night away from home, or perhaps they've had an opportunity to kind of advance a little bit developmentally beyond their typical peers, we're more than happy to accommodate that and talk with parents on a case-by-case basis if they really feel like that camper is ready for camp. So I hope that answered your question, Tyler. Feel free to shoot me a message if there's more clarification needed. So the drop-off locations, like I mentioned, are Spears, First Baptist Church, and Camp Weaver for day camp. The check-in procedures, really the first day of camp is kind of the only day that you'll really have to expect much of a wait. So our check-in procedures on that day, you'll be asked to establish a camper password, as well as a camper password for pickup, as well as just kind of turning in the paperwork that you may be missing. If you've got all your paperwork turned in, good job. All you'll have to do is give that camper password and you'll be on your way. If you're a parent that maybe has to turn stuff in late, payments, health forms, etc., there may be a little bit of a delay with that, but that's something just to expect for those of you that are turning things in late. The other thing that's important to stress is on Monday, that is the only time that we take medications for day campers. So the reason for that is that's the only time of the week that we'll have some of our leadership team out there. And for me as a camp director, that's the team that I really feel comfortable with transporting those camper meds and ensuring that they get to the infirmary on time and that things don't happen. The reason we ask camp parents to really only hand those medications, payments, et cetera, in on Mondays is, camp counselors, they've got other things going on. They've got 15 campers that they're trying to manage and work through. And it just becomes really difficult when they have to go run to the office really quick and distracts them from their campers and their other responsibilities. So please make sure that you turn in any payments, paperwork, or medication on Monday. Otherwise, the camp staff will not be able to accept that. You'll actually have to drop that off drop that off directly at camp. Checkout procedures are very similar. On basically, once you've established that password, you almost don't even have to get out of your car. A bus site leader will come up to your car and or to you if you get out of your car, and they'll say, "Hey, what's your camper's password? What's your camper's name?" And once you identify yourself using that kind of individual password, we give you guys an opportunity to go ahead and pick them up, and you're good to go. If you do have any questions how your camper's day went or anything like that, one thing to keep in mind is whoever's the bus site leader may or may not actually be your camper's counselor. So they may not be able to speak specifically to what your camper's experience was like if you have more detailed questions. That said, if you do need to get in touch with your camper's counselor or want to hear more details from the staff that are working directly with them, please feel free to contact our camp office, contact myself, or any of our full-time team, and we'll be happy to check in on that and follow up with you. As I mentioned earlier, if you're running a little bit behind or want to pick up early, we're happy to do that. The biggest thing with running behind is, like I said, if you're running behind and you're dropping off at a bus site, chances are that bus is leaving at 8:15 unless there's been some kind of unforeseen delay, and you're going to be dropping off at Camp Weaver. If you want to pick up early, the best piece of advice that I give you is to tell us that morning. And your best bet for telling us that morning is if you actually just call our camp office directly and let the camp office know, and we will ensure that your camper is ready to be picked up, ready to go with their bags and all their stuff at the camp office whenever the time that you dictate is. Even if you call an hour beforehand, we will be able to get your camper up to the camp office and have them ready to go. Campers, parents that just show up out of the blue and expect their camper to be at that camp office, it might be a 15 or 20-minute period before we can get your camper up. We'll know exactly where they're at. We'll know exactly what they're doing. But our camp is about 132 acres, and it takes a little while for little legs to walk all the way up to the camp office or get a ride from the camp office. So please help us out and just communicate with us just like you would expect us to communicate with you, and let us know if you're going to be picking up early so that we can make sure that, that we meet your expectations for picking up. I talked a little bit more earlier about why you can't pick your camper up from 4 to 4:30. That's really because we just want to ensure that campers are ready to go and able to be sorted out into their different bus sites. And it just kind of it's confusing when we have parents trying to pick campers up early during that time period. So any other time of the day, you're welcome to pick up. It's really just that 4 to 4:35 period that we really just don't want camper parents to come out and try to pick up. The last question on this one is, can I call or visit my camper? And the short answer to that is really just no. Camp is all about fostering independence and letting campers gain a sense of self while they're here at camp. And if we have parents here at camp that are calling or visiting, it really takes away from that opportunity for campers to learn and to develop themselves and gain that sense of self that we're looking for. So if you'd like to check in on your camper, we're more than happy to do that. That's actually a big part of what I do during the summer, is just check in on campers. So if you need anything at all, please feel free to reach out to our camp office. We're happy to touch base with you and see how your camper's doing. It's not uncommon at all. A lot of parents just want to see a picture of their child in action, and I'm happy to go out and do that. I'll text you, I'll call you and let you know how your camper's doing. But other than that, we really do ask for no visitation or calling during the camp day. If you do have any emergency or anything like that, our camp office is open basically from 7 o'clock in the morning all the way up till 6 o'clock at night, and you can feel free to call us then. Or if you have a true emergency, you can also call our camp emergency hotline. There's a special number on our voicemail that you can reach us at from there. So check-in and check-out for overnight camp is a little bit different from day camp. Our check-in begins each Sunday at 2 o'clock p.m. and the check-in process will go a lot smoother if you have all of your paperwork in. So there's easy check-in is what we call it versus office check-in. Easy check-in means you've got all your forms in, you've got all your paperwork in. Good job, you've done everything that you need to do. Office is if you're a parent that likes to procrastinate and maybe hasn't turned their paperwork in, maybe hasn't turned their payments in, that you're going to be spending some time in the office to check your camper in. We try to expedite every level of service, but the reality is if you neglected to turn something in, it may take us a little bit longer to process you and get your camper into camp than it would be if you turned everything in like we had asked. So the rule of thumb is 2 weeks prior to your camper attending camp. So if you turn a form in the night before, just due to the volume of campers that we're processing, there's no way that we'll have that form reflected in our system, and you'll still be doing office check-in. So my piece of advice is just make sure 2 weeks before camp, you kind of treat that like the day before that they're coming to camp. So make sure you have that paperwork in, make sure that you have that you're all paid up and everything is all solid, and you will be on that easy check-in list and you will be set to go for camp. We do all of our pre-camp communication as far as collecting forms, payment, etc. to your email address. So please make sure that you're checking whatever email address you signed up for camp on a regular basis, especially in that kind of those weeks leading up to camp. The check-in process also, the best way to describe it is it's like a really organized version of the airport. So we'll take your camper's luggage down to the cabin, and so you don't have to transport that all the way down there yourself. Really, all you need to do for your check-in process is bring your camper through that. During the check-in process, they'll get their cabin assignment done, they'll do a health screening, they'll check in their medication, and you'll also potentially set up a trading post account if that's something that you need to do. really the whole check-in process should take about 15 to 20 minutes, give or take. If you arrive right at 2 o'clock, that's kind of the time where most people are trying to check in. So our advice is either to arrive early, but no earlier than 1:30, or you can arrive a little later at like 2:15, 2:30, and the line will have died down by that point. The only thing is, if you opt to arrive a little later, you may not get the optimal bunk that you wanted to choose for your camper, though your cabin assignment won't be changed or anything like that for late arrivals. Great question. So we have a camper parent ask, what do we mean by health screening? Do we have to have a physical check? And basically, what that health screening means is we do basically a skin check, we do a temperature check, and we just do kind of a physical screening of the camper before they come into camp. And that's really just to prevent any communicable diseases or anything like that would be coming into camp. So we'll ask your campers some very basic questions. Have you been sick or been around anybody that was sick in the last few weeks, as well as doing those temperature checks, so on and so forth. So I hope that answered your question. You did ask a question about the health checks before camp or health exams. We actually do not require campers to have a health exam to be a part of Camp Weaver, but we do require all campers to submit what's called a health history form, which is kind of it's basically a self-reported form for any medical conditions they may or may not have. We also had another great question about, do we try to honor cabin mate requests? And with cabin mate requests, what I'm always looking for is I don't want to have one cabin where there's a fully loaded cabin with a bunch of children that know each other. Camp is all about making new friends, and while we certainly encourage cabin mate requests and bringing one or maybe two friends to camp that know each other, what we don't want is a cabin of 15 kids where 10 kids know each other from school or from another area. If you are interested in booking out a whole cabin of camp, which would mean that you'd have upwards of 10 kids at camp, we're happy to talk about that. But outside of that instance, we really do only honor 2 to 3 cabin mate requests per camper. The other thing is they also have to be within 2 years of age of each other, so 2 grade levels of each other. So we'll never place a 1st grader with a 7th grader for really any reason. It's just a matter of having age-appropriate activities and age-appropriate cabins where campers are all kind of a similar age. If you do request your cabin mate, make sure you do that on your registration form, or if you've already registered, you can also call our camp office and we'll be happy to get you to add that to our system and make that note. Do please make sure that you note those cabin mate requests, or in some cases, not with cabin mate requests, where you request maybe if you know that another child from your child's school is coming and maybe they've had some social issues or problems with them. You're more than welcome to call our camp office and note that as well. But we do ask that that's done at least 2 weeks prior to the session so that we can appropriately assign cabins in time. So just make sure to note that. If you note your cabin mate request and they meet kind of that criteria that I just described, we'll be more than happy to meet that and ensure that your campers are with their cabin mate requests. I myself always went to camp with a buddy that I'm still friends with to this day, and it is an important part. And it's really kind of cool if you have a buddy or a friend that you can share that stuff with at home. So by all means, feel free to bring a cabin mate. Just make sure to note it on your registration form. When it comes time for checkout process for overnight camp, we do ask that you bring your ID with you, and that will remind you of that when you park your car, and as you walk up to the cabins, we'll kind of keep reminding you, make sure you've got your ID. The counselors will check ID before they release their camper to anybody. If you do have anybody that's an emergency contact or potentially somebody who's not your family, not actually mentioned on your registration form, do make sure to note that as authorized pickups. It's a separate form on your camper's registration, and on that form, if it's going to be grandma, grandpa, a friend, a neighbor, or even another camper parent, just make sure to note that, and those will be the folks that we are authorized to release. This is purely something that we're doing to ensure your camper's safety. It's not something that we're doing to inconvenience anyone, so please understand when staff, if you have not noted that staff may very well refer you to our camp office to check out that camper, or refer the person you've designated to pick up to the camp office if you haven't noted that on your registration. The last thing is if you have a camper that has medication, whether it's over the counter or prescription, don't forget to pick that up before you leave leave camp. Otherwise, we may have to mail that to you, or you'll have to pick it up later. So please don't forget that medication pickup. And the last thing is our closing ceremony is at 6 o'clock. The closing ceremony, a lot of families are, if there's one thing that I would really encourage families to do, the closing ceremony is an opportunity to really understand what your camper just went through and what they just participated in. Camp is an amazing experience. It's so much more than just playing and being at camp. And the closing ceremony kind of allows you to gain some insight into the friends that they've made at camp, the counselors that they've had, and really just the experience that they've had. So I know that you've got that beach trip planned, and you've got to get out to the beach, and you've got to get going on your vacation, but just take a few minutes to hang out for that closing ceremony. It only lasts about 30 minutes, and really be a part of that closing camp experience for your child. It really allows them to have some closure, say goodbye to friends, and also you may be surprised. They may be recognized for an award or recognized for one of our honor camper positions or something like that. So please, please, please be there for our closing ceremony. If you can't make it, we understand, but it really does provide a great level of closure for our campers. Swim evaluations are the same for both day camp and overnight camp, and swim evaluations occur on the first day of camp. So during that swim evaluation, basically what we're looking for is campers to complete a 25-yard swim, 1 minute of deep water treading, and then the ability for campers to submerge themselves underwater and then recover on their own. So basically they have to go underwater and then they can push off the bottom and get back up to the top. Really, we're just looking for kiddos that are confident in swimming and ability to complete those three skills. If campers aren't able to do that, we basically will score them as either a yellow band or a red band. For most campers, in my experience, they're either a green band or a red band. Swimming is one of those life skills that either you are a confident swimmer or you're not. There's really not a whole lot of in between. So most campers score one of those two. Yellow band is something if your campers may be in transition, if they're just starting to learn how to swim. Also, it's possible that maybe they're nervous on the first day of the test. We do see some kiddos that score that yellow band. So it's kind of that halfway between mark for our campers. So if one thing that we will note is that if your camper for some reason scores that red band or that yellow band, but you have seen them, they're on the swim team at school, or they're like a fish. It's also highly possible that on the first day of camp, they were just nervous. So for day campers, if you feel like that they've maybe been misscored, we're always happy to provide another opportunity to test. For overnight campers, we really have to be the campers have to be a little bit more of an advocate for themselves, and they can always opt for the opportunity to retest later on in the week, where it's a little bit more of a private setting, a smaller group setting where there's not so much of those butterflies going on, and they have a chance to do that test in a more private setting where maybe they're not so nervous. It's a couple days after they've arrived at camp. But either way, please make sure to note that at the end of the day, we really do have to ensure that campers are assessed safely. And there's just a difference between whether you allow them to swim at the beach or swim at the lake or swim in your family pool versus where we're at, where we have to supervise your camper and we're your camper's caregiver for the week. So if they do perform that red or that yellow band, I assure you and they are a strong swimmer at home, I do assure you we're not intentional. It's not an intentional slight against their swimming ability. Chances are they were just nervous. So just give us a call and let us know if you'd like your camper to be retested. Our camp meals are another thing that we're really proud of, and we think really separates us from a lot of different camps in the area. We have nationally recognized food service. Our food service director, Uncle Ray, is a certified chef, and he's actually been recognized and sourced from the National Y, and as well as the kind of the regional Southeastern Camping Conference as a leader within the camping industry of providing food that's not only high in quality and good tasting, but also we're really proud of the fact that we got rid of our deep fryers. We haven't had deep fryers since I've been here, and I've been here for 8 summers. So it's really kind of the food service is not only good tasting, but also high quality and extremely healthy. If you do have a picky eater or a camper that maybe has some dietary restrictions or just doesn't like a variety of different meals, our meal calendars will actually be up on our website fairly soon, where you can check that out and review that with our camper. But if you do have a picky eater, we always provide soy nut butter jelly sandwiches, as well as some alternatives like a full salad bar, as well as fruit, cereal, and some other alternatives for campers that are pickier eaters. And then for campers that have a dietary restriction or an allergy or anything like that, we're happy to meet that and work with that. And our goal is always, for example, if we do pizza for lunch, our goal is to find an alternative that is equivalent to that. So for pizza, campers might have a gluten-free crust, or if they're dairy-free, we'll do like a soy cheese on it or something alternative. If you communicate with us in advance on their health form and on your campers' forms that they have that dietary restriction, that'll help us really make sure that your camper has those alternative meals available to them. If you have a camper that has some very severe dietary restrictions or allergies, please give us a call, and we're more than happy to put you directly in touch with our food service director, Uncle Ray, and he'll actually be able to walk you through the menu and what some of those alternatives may be. And as I mentioned earlier, the meal menus will be available on our website in about a week. We'll have those published, as well as on the pre-camp emails that go out prior to the week that your camper comes. These are just some must-bring items to camp. So a lot of these are highlighted really with our day campers. Or this particular shortened packing list is really highlighted toward our day campers. So these are the must-bring items. So you definitely want to have your camper bring a backpack, and that backpack just helps them hold all the different items that they need. So swimsuit, towel, and then a bag for wet items. We actually sell like suit sacks at our camp store, which is basically like a vinyl bag that zips up. But you don't have to get that fancy if you don't want. A really easy way to do it is just a grocery bag, or even like a small trash bag that they can put those wet items into to keep them isolated from the rest of the items that they have in their bag. The other thing they want to bring is a change of clothes, as well as a refillable water bottle. And then the last thing is sunblock. We do have sunblock here at camp for campers that forget, or maybe don't have it with them that day. But we do encourage you guys to bring sunblock out to camp so that they can be protected from the sun. Either way, whether it's in their pack or not, we will make sure to apply sunblock before the morning swim time, as well as in the afternoon before we do afternoon activities. So sunblock will be applied at least twice a day. Parents that have been coming for a while often tell me that they actually apply before they come to camp as well, just to make sure that they've got full and total coverage throughout the day. If your child is really fair, if you can't see quite well on the screen, I have red hair and I'm fairly fair skinned. It is okay to bring a swim shirt to camp as well. There's nothing to be embarrassed about. It's a great thing to help protect them from the sun and keep them safe from the sun's rays. And this also highlights some items to leave at home, which comes on a later slide right here, as far as some items to leave at home. So really, you'll see there's kind of a running theme with this. There, iPods, tech toys, that kind of stuff. Those are all items to leave at home. Ultimately, camp's such a busy place that they really won't need those things or miss those different types of tech toys. So leave those iPods, iPhones, cell phones, whatever at home. Expensive clothing. This is not a good place to try out Tommy Hilfiger's new summer line for children. Send clothes that can get ruined, that can get muddy, that can get gross, and because the campers are going to be here to play. As well, on top of that, the other thing that I see quite frequently with campers are just sending their campers to camp in kind of those cheap flip-flops. So they're kind of not to throw Old Navy under the bus, but they're kind of the foam flip-flops that are held together by like a piece of plastic. Those flip-flops will probably, I would be surprised if they even last a day at camp. And they'll also come with some blisters and some uncomfortable feelings for your campers. Flip-flops are okay for when they go to the pool, so they're like a good temporary footwear, but it's not something that you want your camper to be walking around all day in by any means. So I always recommend either Chaco or Keen, or there's a variety of other sandals that you can buy that have a back strap to them. That's just a much more solid sandal. It'll allow your camper to be comfortable, but also wear that sandal. So avoid those cheaper flip-flops from the dollar store or from Old Navy or whatever. The other thing that you'll note on here is cash. Is something that we mentioned. So with cash, unfortunately, when the campers get to camp, there's a lot of times where they're pulling stuff out of their bags and putting stuff back in. And it's just not a a good idea for campers to have cash when they're here at camp. So what we would encourage you instead is to utilize our store credit system, and instead of using just a cash system. So don't send them to camp with cash. Utilize that store credit system if you want them to visit our trading post and buy those credits in advance. The other thing that we would ask, because it's so hot here during the summer, we really encourage campers to push water. There's really no need for them to be drinking soda or energy drinks or that kind of stuff. Please leave that kind of stuff at home, whether it's for snacks or whether it's for snacks or anything like that. For camp emergencies, a lot of the times the most common question we get is, what is our severe weather policy? Our severe weather policy is fairly simple. So if we have any weather that's going to endanger our campers, such as lightning, or earlier on in the summer, potentially severe wind or tornadoes, we use a severe weather monitoring system that is called Weather Sentry. And basically what this weather system does is it monitors any incoming weather for us and lets us know what's coming in. What's coming in that day. So we'll always be looking at forecasts at the beginning of the day, as well as kind of monitoring this up to the minute weather system, that basically as soon as the system detects a strike of lightning or any kind of severe weather, it'll notify us within a 50-mile radius, 30-mile radius, and then kind of descending from there so that we can make an appropriate response to that. Lightning is really lightning and severe, more severe stuff is really the only reason we'll cancel activities and pull campers inside. If it's just rain, we'll just keep rolling through. But we do keep monitoring that weather closely just to make sure that our campers are remaining safe. If you do need to get a hold of a director in the case of an emergency, whether you're an overnight camper or a day camper, you can do that by calling our camp office. You can also just shoot us an email, and our emails are available on our camp website. During the summer, I try to be out in the field as much so that I can ensure that campers are having a great time. So email tends to be a better way to contact me, but I tend to get back to emails usually within 12 hours or so. And then as far as being contacted if something happens, my rule of thumb is if your camper is being returned to you in any condition different than what they were dropped off in, we'll give you a call and let you know. So if they visit the infirmary with a severely scratched knee or anything like that, you'll probably get a call from our camp infirmary just to inform you. We almost have a policy, I would say sometimes, of over-informing. So just if you do get a call, it doesn't mean it's an emergency or anything like that. It just means that potentially your camper got hurt at camp, and we just want you to know so that you're in the loop. So another great question that just came up is it possible to get updated with camper's status at the end of the day? So with that, it's very dependent upon the camper. So if you have a camper that you're really, really stressed about, or potentially having a good day or not having a good day, we're happy to send home kind of a brief report from the camp counselor. If you let us know, either let that bus site leader know or let us know directly at our camp office, we can send home a little report on how they were doing. Otherwise, we also will send home a sticker that says, "Ask me about blank." And this is a new sticker concept that we came up with a couple years ago, just to let you know about something maybe cool that your camper did. So they may come into your car wearing a sticker that says, "Ask me about archery," or "Ask me about my swim test." And we try to make that unique to each camper and really reflect something that was cool that they did that day that they really enjoyed. And that's meant to kind of prompt a discussion with your camper about what's going on. As most parents are probably aware, when you ask your camper, "How was school today?" or "How was camp today?" you get an answer of "good." And this kind of gives you a way to kind of converse with your camper and know a little bit more about what they did that specific day, so that you're able to ask them some more specific questions. Well, how was archery? Did you hit a bullseye? So on and so forth. Our camp infirmary, so our camp will always have a nurse on duty during the course of the week, and that's actually something that we offer to really any camper family, as long as they have a family member who's a registered nurse or a doctor. They can volunteer in exchange for a free week at camp. So the nurse oversees kind of the camp infirmary and oversees the medication administration during the week. And if your camper takes that medication, if you drop it off on Monday as a day camper, or if you drop it off at check-in as an overnight camper, basically we'll administrate it whatever time you've indicated on your form. The one thing that we won't do is to make sure that your dropping off that medication in the original prescription bottle. We will not accept medication that comes in a baggie or comes in a bottle that's not original to the medication. The other thing that we won't do is if the instructions that you're giving us to administer the medication are radically different from what's on this prescription bottle. For example, if you have a medication that's clearly indicated on the prescription label to give in the morning, and you ask us to give it at night, we're going to follow that prescription label. If you'd like us to follow something different, then you need to see your doctor and have a different prescription label issued or a different doctor's orders given so that we can give that medication accordingly. We do have most basic over-the-counter medication, Advil, we've got burn cream, we've got insect bite stuff to rub on, and really anything basic as far as first aid supplies, Band-Aids, antibiotic cream, so on and so forth. But you also, if there's anything more specific or unusual, you're more than welcome to contact us to ask if it's something that we stock. But as far as like kind of the basic first aid supplies and basic medications that you'd find in most American homes medicine cabinets, we'll stock that at camp. So there's no need to send that bottle of Advil. There's no need to send even really that cough syrup or anything like that, because we'll keep that we'll keep that in stock in our camp infirmary. The health history form accuracy for campers, especially ones that are returning, we really can't stress enough if there are any changes at all to that health history form. That's kind of what we're operating off of. So if your camper has a new diagnosis or any kind of changes to their health history form, please let us know right away so that we can treat them accordingly, because that may radically change, whatever that diagnosis may be, may radically change whatever treatment that we're going to offer to that camper. And then also make sure, the number one thing I would always recommend to parents is to make sure those emergency contacts that you've listed are up to date and are also aware that they've been listed on those camper forms. It's a worst case scenario for any camp director in the country to try to call home in the case of an emergency. Can't get a hold of parents and can't get a hold of emergency contacts. It's not a good thing. So please make sure, if you list grandma, grandpa, neighbor, or even a coworker, whatever, just make sure that they know that they're an emergency contact as well, if you're out of town or anything like that, so that we can make sure we monitor that on our side. The trading post, we've talked a little bit about. Your child will get a chance to go once a week to go shopping in the trading post for souvenirs, and they'll get a chance to go every day for the snacks, which are delivered out of the trading post. Your child can buy a variety of items. We have different Camp Weaver t-shirts, and they're actually pictured here in this photo below. Camp Weaver t-shirts, water bottles, backpacks. We actually also offer some different like cups and frisbees. There's some different toys and things we offer. The most expensive item we offer in the store is an Eno hammock. Especially if you're an overnight camper, your camper may want to buy a hammock while they're here at camp. Those are $75, all the way down to our cheapest items. We've got some t-shirts and some different smaller toys, which are all under $5. It is not a requirement by any means that you participate in the Trading Post program, but it is a cool opportunity for them to learn a little bit about money management, as well as get an opportunity to pick up some Camp Weaver swag to wear around their neighborhood and wear around school when they get home for the evening. So the items, like I said, they really do range. Most of them are under $30 though. I would say our average amount that our parents put in is about $30 per week. If you want to do more than that, you're more than welcome to do that. They also do get 2 snacks per day. During the trading post time, we will only let campers get 1 drink and 1 ice cream or 1 snack with it, but they do get a snack later on in the day. For day campers, they get a snack right before they get on the bus, and for overnight campers, they get a snack right before they go to bed. So that way, kids aren't going to bed hungry, and hopefully with their day camper, they're not getting in the car and immediately saying, "I'm hungry" as well. So those are options that you can do at our trading post. Campers lost and found. This is another kind of camper pro tip, is to make sure that you list your camper's name on everything they have, whether it's socks, underwear, goggles, hats, sleeping bag. Put your camper's name on everything. And one thing I will tell you, as somebody that sorts through the lost and found toward the end of the season, just putting your camper's initials, my initials, for example, are LG, Luke Gerke. We will have about a dozen other people who have the same exact initials. So initials are not enough. So make sure you put at least their first name, last initial, or first initial, last name. That will help us get that stuff home to you. If you don't put that information on there, chances are if you're looking for that white Old Navy size medium t-shirt, we're going to have about a dozen other that we've found over the course of the summer. If you do lose anything, feel free to give our camp office a call, and we'll be happy to look through our lost and found. We do get stuff turned in all the way through the summer, all the way through each week, but our goal is to get campers' stuff back to them. But if you don't put your camper's name on stuff, chances are it's going to be really, really difficult for us to find. If you do lose that special something, please make sure to notify our camp office, and we'll do our best to look through it for you. You're also more than welcome to come out to camp and look through our lost and found as well, and see if you can find that item. At the end of the year, we'll also do one last kind of hurrah for lost and found, where we'll put everything out on the table and give parents an option to come out to camp and look through that lost and found. But at the end of the day, Camp Weaver is not responsible for lost or damaged items, though we will do our absolute best to make sure that you get that stuff returned to you at the end of the camp session if you've lost it. But please, please, please do me a favor and help us by putting your camper's name on everything you can find. Some other important details as far as registration goes. If you need to switch your weeks of camp, that is okay by us. But the biggest thing at this point, Camp Weaver is full. Camp Weaver is getting full. So it really may be dependent on the availability. So if you've signed up for session 1 and you want to switch to session 7, that's something we're happy to do for you, but it may not be available, especially later on in the summer. So I would say pick your week that you want to go to and make sure that you're set on that week. Otherwise, you may not be able to transfer that week to another week. The other thing is that we'll transfer the balance of your fees, but we will take your deposit if you need to switch those weeks of camp. The only exception is, and that kind of goes with our cancellation policy, is if we have verification from a physician for a medical related refund, and documentation is required for all other kinds of problems or anything like that. So please, if you do need to cancel or make those transfers and you need more than just your balance of fees and deposit back, do be prepared that you will be asked for a medical refund of some kind, so that we can have that documentation on our end. And then the last question is when do I need to be paid in full? Ultimately, if you are not paid in full by 2 weeks prior to the camp session starting, we will ask you guys we will go ahead and cancel your session. So if you're not paid at that point, you'll get some calls leading up to that 2-week mark, but then at that 2-week mark, you'll get one final call to say, hey, we need your payment, and at that point, if you're not paid up, your session will be canceled, and we will move on to someone later on in our wait list. So please make sure that you guys are paid in full, and at least just kind of communicating with our camp office. We had a camper family ask us, do we have openings for overnight and day camp? So the week of June 17th, we do still have availability. Day camp is starting to fill depending on the age group, but we have not called any specific age groups full at this point as of 8:03 this evening. That's not to say that tomorrow we won't get a couple more registrations and have to call one of those age groups full. So at this point, we really do recommend calling to camp in our business hours, which are basically from 8 a.m. in the morning until 5 o'clock at night, and to check that availability. Our availability is also listed on our website. We do our best to update that every night before we leave the office, but occasionally stuff will happen where we get a couple of registrations over the course of the evening, and our system will actually close out some of those sessions. So my recommendation, if you're registering and we're still not full yet, or you have any questions, please feel free to give us a call to check availability, and we can quickly check that for you during our regular business hours. So these are actually some paper copies of our registration forms. So these are actually becoming kind of obsolete at this point, because I would say at this point, 80% of our campers register online, and all of these forms are available online. And if you're really, if you're ready to register, you can actually do every bit of paperwork that you need for your camper pretty much tonight if you're ready to register. So the paper copies, these are just some forms, some examples of some forms that we have of our paper versions, but you can actually do all this stuff online, and that really is my recommendation. The one main benefit of doing registration online is that those forms carry over year to year. So if you put in your camper's doctor, their orthodontist, wellness, their dentist, etc., you can actually expect to, when you go to camp, register for camp next year, that information will already be in there. So it does take a little while to get registered, but I will, but I can guarantee you that over time, if you're coming to camp for multiple years, it will make life much easier. I have an attendee that is raising their hand, so I'm going to press the allow to talk button. This is the first time I've done this, so Karen, I hope this works, but I'm going to press allow to talk, and hopefully you can ask the question for the group. So, oh, never mind. Okay, I guess her hand's not raised anymore. Sorry, Karen. But if you do have a question, Karen, I'll hang around for a few minutes after the presentation and we can talk privately, or you can give me a call to discuss. So these are just some other examples of some paperwork that we have available for campers. And the last thing that I'll say and kind of leave you guys with is we do want your feedback. The reality of it is, you know, as much as I believe that we have amazing staff that are going to provide an amazing experience for your camper, the reality of it is that I employ mostly 18, 19, and 20-year-olds. And as incredible as those 18, 19, and 20-year-olds are, they do make some 18, 19, and 20-year-old decisions. And we do a very robust training with them, but sometimes they make mistakes. Sometimes they have bad days. If your camper is just not jiving with a camp counselor, or they just aren't fitting in, or there's just any other concern that you have, please don't go away angry. It's my goal, because I had such amazing camp experiences as a kid. I want to make sure that your camper has the same opportunity. I think summer camp is truly a life-changing opportunity. It changed my life. I know it can change your campers. So if you're having any difficulties, any problems, anything like that, please let us know. And you can contact me, like I said, via my email address, which is available on our camp website. You can give me a call at our camp office. And most of the time, what I'll do is if you have an issue, I'll follow up on my personal cell phone, and you can call me whatever time that you need to discuss any camper issues that you may or may not have. But I can't fix problems that I don't know about. So please don't go away mad. Please don't be frustrated. Sometimes life just happens. Counselors have a bad day. Campers in the group might be disruptive. It just might be that perfect storm. And I will do whatever I can to make sure that those issues are fixed and addressed to the best of my ability. So please give us your feedback and let us know. And don't be afraid to do that in midweek. Even if your camper comes home from day camp on, say, Monday evening and just had a really tough day, I'm happy to talk you through that and address whatever issues you had or concerns that you had. So that's kind of the presentation that I've got so far. I'll go ahead and turn it over to you guys. Is there anybody that had any questions or anything more that I can clarify or talk about during this webinar?